Mate, thank you for being a client of ours. Thank you for being a good friend. I love it when we get into relationships with people, help them make money, and then they also become friends too. So it's really nice for you to do that with us. I want to obviously talk about your success and go into the nuts and bolts of that. But before we do that, let's have a little chat about where you came from, what your motivations were, and how it feels as well to be where you were to where you are. Obviously I know, but nobody else does. So.
Yeah, for sure. So for me, I guess it all started when I was playing football. Obviously went to school, played football, left school early. I say early. The last year I was leaving school 3 times a week, go and play football. Ended
really?
up, yeah. So
You're one of them?
I was one of them, yeah.
Kept getting caught off on the bus, whatever else in math.
So I was doing that, done my apprenticeship, got injured, terrible injury, stopped playing. Was kind of left then in a situation where it was all I ever knew was playing football. So I didn't really know what I was going to do. My mother was saying, go back to uni and study whatever you want to study, business, blah, blah, blah. My dad was more like, right, okay, well, this is what I've done. Drove taxis for the last 20 years. Come and have a look and maybe just start earning some money before you decide what you're going to go and do. Ended up doing that then for, for 4 years. Bought the property when I first finished playing football. Just accidentally, basically. Ended up buying it, just left it, rented it out. Drove taxis for 4 years. Back in my mind was I always knew I was going to go and get into property or do something else. I just knew that driving taxis for now was the thing that was going to get me further forward. And if I could save the money that I could use in that, I could start using that to buy property, do the renovations, that sort of thing. And then it just got to a point for me where, like I mentioned to you earlier on, I was driving 12 hours a day. Really difficult time. Not difficult as in work, as in hard labour, but on the mind, driving around all the time, meeting all different types of people. I'd have some people out trying to run away from me. You're dealing with low-level people sometimes with the taxis, but then I would go and pick up someone in an airport, or at the airport, or in a hotel, take them to the train station, and they would be, a businessman, and I'd always try and have conversations with them then. But then in the next breath, I'd be picking someone up from a not great area and then taking them, blah, blah, blah. So I think that during that time of me driving taxis, it got me to a position where built my character up. I learned how to deal with different types of people, which was obviously excellent. But I always knew that I was going to go and do more. And then that's when I decided that I was going to dive straight into property. Got educated, paid, a lot of money, or considerable amount of money at the time for myself. And for 9 months, didn't have any sort of success, just bashing my head against the wall. But I knew it was going to come and it was going to work over time. And then, I got a little break where I sold the deal for £10,000 and then started to move into it and realised that sourcing could replace my income, so to speak. Done that, and then I've just kind of started to scale it up from there. Obviously social media has started to play a big part in my life, and I'm obviously at where I am now. I'm obviously helping other people get started now as well. I'm selling a lot, quite a lot of deals again now, and it's just slowly starting to get where I want to get to. But I guess for me, I knew that I had a big problem with scaling because although I had good knowledge in my brain, I didn't know how to articulate it online. And that's where I stumbled upon obviously you and Hal, and the way that you made me feel when I seen your content. That's the thing that I realized that I need investors or people that want to work with me to feel, and that's why you became the obvious next choice for me. And I think on the call that we had, I didn't care what the price was. I was already paying.
Yeah, you were a buy quick type of guy. I'm the same.
Yeah,
I'm the same. And I think not being able to be decisive holds a lot of people back. But just to track back a second, something you said that was really interesting to me. I also came from a deprived area. I spent a portion of my childhood with my mum's side of the family, which my mum wasn't well off at all, so we lived in a bit of an estate, and that gave me perspective because I knew what one side of life looked like. I had an idea of what it looked like to be around money, but no idea of what it felt like, right? So I always was aspiring towards that, and spending a portion of my time around people that didn't have it. I realised that when you spend lots of time around those people, you can find yourself in an echo chamber of negativity. So you were in a taxi all the time. Sometimes you were with people who were mega successful, and naturally you were gravitating towards them. And sometimes you were with people who weren't at all and were going nowhere in life. And how did that make you feel when you were in the taxi with them? What was that doing for your energy and your frequency at the time?
It was just
nothing good.
Nothing good. Yeah, you were just in a bad position. And
that's okay as well. It's actually okay to admit that too.
Yeah, it just drags you down to obviously their stand. You try your best not to get affected by it, but I guess when you're around people all the time that are not going anywhere, it's difficult then to realize what the next steps really should be for you, and what you should actually be trying to aim towards when you're always around negativity.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, similar to you, I know you got into property as well initially, and obviously decided that it wasn't for you. But I guess getting around people who were further ahead of me, I realized that I need to do that, and that's all I aim to do. And again, that's why it led on to me, gravitating towards you and kind of grabbing it by the horns when I worked with you as well.
Yeah, the property thing was interesting for me because as a kid I always wanted to get into property, right? And what I was actually saying to myself without realising it at the time was that I wanted to be successful. So property was a vehicle that I thought was a profitable one that would definitely take me to where I wanted to be. So I naturally went for it and got into it and did quite well, to be fair. But then I quickly realised that the mission was to be successful and not to be a property investor. Hence why I was happy just to pivot when I saw a better opportunity. I don't really regret that at all. I'm still in property somewhat. We're selling the house at the moment that we flipped, which led on to us doing the social media stuff because we built a page to like 65,000 followers, millions and millions of views. Did you discover me through that page?
No, I didn't. I came from the socials of sales page, but that's what I was going to ask you. How did it all really start to take off for you then?
All right, so I left the military at 19. I set up a resin flooring business very, very young. I don't even know anything about the resin floors, but they're very, very hard to get right. You can't get them 100% right. And what was happening was I was laying these floors down for people. I'll explain the failure of the business, and I'll explain how content came into it. I was laying these floors down for people, and they would have like a small scratch or like a divot within the resin because it's a one layer system, right? There's no joints in it at all. And the homeowners would complain and moan to me about it. And because I was so young in business and so naive and inexperienced, I didn't know how to set expectations properly. So I would get myself in a world of trouble and anxiety about the fact that I'm laying these floors down and I know they're not going to be 100% perfect, but within regulations, this was fine. I should have just said, no, this is the way it is. You want a bespoke piece of art on your floor, there's going to be imperfections. Anyway, because I didn't do that, it led to me having to shut the business down. But before that, I started to make these sample boards in my dad's construction site, go there at like 5 p.m, everyone else had gone home, turn lights on just like this, and I'd make content of me making these boards. And within like 2 months of doing that, I had like 25,000 followers, I had lots and lots of views, millions of views, and had people asking for me to go and do their floors for them. Nowhere near enough for the amount of attention that I had. And then I went off and did the floors, and it failed because of the reason I explained before. Then after that, I went into property, started making content again about how to source deals and what I'm doing in the industry, and would lean on my dad's construction experience to give myself some like validity in the space. And built that page to like 10,000 followers, 11,000 followers. I actually got recruited by a management company called Avivo. Avivo?
Oh, yeah.
They recruited me to be like I hate saying the word, but like a micro influencer for them. And we were traveling around Europe doing a campaign for them. We went to London, Brussels, Dusseldorf, Amsterdam, Paris, and we were doing like this like guerrilla marketing.
Cool, yeah.
So we'd go and we put this movie on famous buildings, and I was in the movie, which was sick, and I'd have to make content out there and whatnot, and that sort of made me step into the identity of actually maybe I am a content person, maybe I do know how to do this, because before that I was just creating content because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. So built that page up, with selling deals. Then at the age of 23 3, I made 28k in a month selling property deals, and I thought I was the absolute business. I thought I was Rockefeller, the boy, and anything I would touch would turn to gold, which is obviously bullshit.
But it would though at 23 to sell, you know, 20,000.
It was too much money for a 23-year-old to have, I think, and well, too much money to make in a short period of time. Yeah. So I stopped sourcing, and I wanted to go into something that I thought was more stable, which was rent-to-rents, service accommodation. Ended up building a sizable portfolio of like 15 properties. Was doing like good money, and then all of a sudden I stopped putting the attention into it that I was supposed to, and it started to dwindle. Right, so what did I do? I started to make more and more content, thinking that was the thing that was going to change, but it wasn't. It was because I was missing a content system, which I obviously know now. So I let that business go, and I sold it, and I bought a house with my partner Lauren, like a rundown house, and documented the journey of renovating it. That built to like 65,000 followers, 1 million views per video organically, no ad spend. Oh. And Hal gripped me, and he was like, "Mate, I'm running my coaching business, right? You have a skill that you could coach people." He was doing fitness coaching. "You have a skill that you could coach people, which is social media. You don't know how to build a coaching business. I do. You know how to get attention. You know how to build massive pages. I don't. So why don't we team up together and see what we can do?" And we spoke about it on the way down to a festival. Now, this festival I'd been to the year before, and I'd done all the stuff you're not supposed to do at festivals, and had a bad time. And the year later, I went to the same festival, and this time I was in bed by 10, didn't really drink. Me and Hal got in the car early on the way home, and we were like, we're fucking doing this. We're going to do this. So we went to a cafe called Lateral in West Kirby, which is our local, well, was when we were back at home. And we put a story up. If anyone doesn't know what a story funnel is, it's where you put a series of like photos up, and you pitch something for free at the end. When someone asks for the free thing, you get their contact details, and they become a lead, someone you can start to follow up with, right? So we put one up, and 250 people voted for it. And straight away we were like, boom, 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 in the DMs, and within like a day or two we had a sales call booked in, and closed her for like £500 for like 2 months, or £250 a month for social media coaching. And we were like, wow, no way, we've done it with it. And then shortly after that, because we were making content loads and people saw what we were doing, and I had so much brand equity from Flipping Property Couple. Brand equity, by the way, is where you basically give loads of value for free, build loads of trust in your audience, and don't ask them for anything. So I had a bucket full of brand equity that I was ready to kick the buck over and start making sales. And that's what we did. And within 2 months, we got to like 10k a month, which was cool. And we had a setter, a DM setter, and then just me and Hal. But we were also in the DMs, like giving it this, and on sales calls, making content, fulfilling for clients at a really high level very early on, and building a very good name for ourselves. And then in October, this is August, October, we did 10 grand. We spent money on a setter, giving really good money, like 10%. Plus we had a setter manager. No idea why we did that. We just didn't know what we were doing. And we had the opportunity to go and work with someone, which was 3k or 4k for the month, right? And at the time, I'd let go of the property business, so I wasn't incoming from that. And the house was still being renovated, and I was obviously paying for stuff like that. So I had no money, had maybe like 300 quid left. I was gambling. I'm a risk taker, happy to do that. So Hal goes, should we do it? And I was like, let's do it. Let's do it.
Why did you want to, get down to your last £300 and still bet on yourself?
Because my path is predetermined. My success is predetermined. I've always known since I was this big that I was going to be successful, always. And I think lots of people have that. It's like a burning desire, or like a subconscious thing that you just feel this buzz, this hum, this frequency, that you're going to do something well. And I knew I was going to do it. So whatever happened on the path there was inconsequential, and I'd figure it out. So we took the risk, and the next month we made 40 grand. Yeah, it was sick. It was amazing. Life-changing, actually. We weren't embodying the characteristics of people who were making that money, though. We weren't dressing properly. We weren't taking care of ourselves, without like having haircuts all the time and whatnot. We were sort of just, we were keeping ourselves in a frequency of not making much money, not taking care of like our personal appearance and whatnot, whilst also trying to look. Here's the thing, right? So we made 40 grand in a month. Then we had the social proof that we could do something like that. So then naturally, what we were fulfilling on originally with our content was to get people views and engagement and reach, which is the lowest form of value you can provide people. The next form of value is leads, and then the next form of value above that is sales. So we were just getting people views and reach at the time, and I built a page called We Can't Reno, helped them build their page to, at the time it was like 13k. First video hit 1 million views. It was super verified on what we were doing, but we knew that if we wanted to charge more money, we had to give more value. So we started to pitch for leads and sales, and we used our social proof of, we did 40 grand in a month using our content system, which was true, but we didn't look like we did. So there's levels of awareness in people's mind that you have to hit for someone to trust you enough for them to buy from you. One of those is the way you visually appeal to them. And I'm going off on a tangent here because that period of my life, so much was going on and so much was happening that it's hard to put it all into sequence. But looking at basically what I'm doing is I'm criticizing myself back then, and I'm trying to put it right now.
So how have you changed from where you were to where you are
Not
now?
worried about spending money on clothes, not worried about spending money on myself. Whereas before that, it'd be like, this is a broke mindset, I think. Actually, what the fuck do I know? I used to think that I needed a minimum amount of money in the bank to feel safe and secure. And I kept that, and so did Hal. We kept that. And I think this comes from my parents and whatnot, because my dad's definitely like on that level. And I know Hal's family are too. Because of that, we basically were like holding back from spending money on ourselves, and we'd only spend money on the business. Right, so I don't know what the damage that has done to this point, as have high ticket people who would buy high ticket services from us not taking us seriously because we didn't position ourselves correctly at the time. Who knows? So yeah, so now we're trying to pivot away from that, trying to build our personal brand, which is a thing, by the way.
Yeah.
Personal branding is a thing.
Yeah.
To try and go to the next level, which for us is going to be life changing. It already is life changing. Like, look, we came to Dubai in April, loved it. By July we had businesses here, and January we moved. We couldn't have done that before. We didn't have the money. Now we do.
For sure. And how's that move been from home to here? Sound.
Yeah. Not a problem at all. I feel like I've been here a week. I've only been here for 4 weeks, but I feel like I've been here for a week. Mate, we're so busy. Nothing's changed, by the way. Actually, no, it has a little bit, but our routine hasn't changed. We still get up at 5:30 every day, or 5. We still train in the morning. We still journal. We still pray. We still hydrate. We still eat properly. We still pull each other up. We still read, educate each other. Nothing's changed really, apart from the fact that we're in a place where the frequency is 100% higher. And I know everyone hates Dubai, like everyone online hates Dubai, and it's not for them. It's just a mall in the desert, which isn't true. But the reality of it is, success and wealth here is normal. It is normal here. We've gone from, I felt like, because in our area, there's no one doing what we're doing in our area, apart from one fella actually, who was Hal's previous mentor. He's doing very well. Good guy too. There's no one else other than that guy doing what we were doing in the info space. So there was no one to like rub off and mingle with and like get advice from and that sort of thing. Whereas here, there's so many people you can learn from, so many experiences that you're yet to have, so much more to do, so much more to see, so much more to hear from people, that I just think for anyone who's looking to have their own business and really excel, there isn't like a manual business, because I think I don't know what goes on here with that, because they have cheaper labour and whatnot. But anyone who's doing like info like us, this is the place to be, for sure. Bali's too quiet and too laid back. I like the fast nature of things, and yeah, I want to be in a nice big ocean so I can grow my tiny pond scum body into a whale.
For sure.
Yeah. How do you feel? You've obviously come over here for a week to see us, and
Yeah, it's been great, mate. It's been, I think, similar situation to what you just explained there in regards to, you know, getting around other people, getting around new opportunities and that sort of thing. And it speaks volumes to me really, because since I came on Saturday, and this week we're currently Friday, and I've done my biggest week that I've ever had in for obviously the coaching business.
I've only spoken a little bit about it.
Yeah, we haven't spoken much about it, but I guess from what I've had from you boys over the last, say, 6 months or so, it's really changed my perspective as well, because I came into obviously the info space, so to speak, completely new, didn't understand anything. 7 months ago, I didn't know what a sales call was. I'd been closed on a sales call, but I didn't know it was a sales call. I was just like, oh, this is a call to pay. Intro call. And I was like, oh, okay. And yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, that side of the business for me is obviously, doing quite well now. But it wasn't something that I always intended on doing, because for me, property will always be my number one. Buying, selling, refurbing.
Is it your number one still?
100%. Yeah, I think
over the coaching business now.
Over the coaching business, I don't want to say too much, but no,
but not financially. But like, the thing is with the property business is it's slower.
Of course it is. So it's slower, but I think for me and where I'm at, I want to grow that business, my portfolio, to 100 properties. That's my aim for that business, 100 properties. But obviously the coaching stuff is obviously helping now. But like I was saying, I never intended on going into it. But what I found was, when I was posting a lot of content online, at the time I was just posting content for content's sake, so to speak. I was still getting traction from people asking for help, asking, one, can I source them a deal? Or two, what do you think of this deal? Or what do you think of that deal? Or, would you like to mentor me? And I used to just give free value all the time. But then when I realized that there actually are people in a situation where they may have paid for mentorship, or they are in a position where they have cash, they've saved for the last 30 years or 10 years or whatever it's been, and they don't know how to get started, and they know that they need to start buying assets, for instance, because apart from, well, I believe, you may think different, but in wealth creation, property is the best thing that you can invest in. Obviously for you, it's ads, put more money in ads and all that sort of stuff. But like for a normal person hasn't got a business or hasn't got, £400,000 to go and invest into a business or whatever, they buying an asset and having an investment property, not necessarily a residential property that you live in, but an investment property that's paying them every single month, along with capital appreciation, that's the safest bet. So I think if you're someone that isn't business savvy, you don't want a business, or you're just in a corporate job with a lot of cash, having a property business alongside is always gonna it's a perfect storm.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with you. You're in a peculiar situation now, though, where the business that you've built with us it needs a lot of fuel to stoke that fire. It really does. So do you find it difficult? Okay, this is interesting. This is good for clients to know. For you, how easy is it to do whilst you're also working full time? Because you have more than a full time job with what you're doing with us.
I don't think
easy is not the right way to describe it. How possible is it?
No, it is definitely possible, 100% possible, because obviously you've got other clients that are doing it. I'm doing it now, but unless you are willing to tie your shoelaces up and really go after it and really put the effort in, then it's not going to be a long-term business for you. You may make some quick money, maybe, but I think if you want to, it takes time as well, because the first few months I wasn't getting a lot of traction. I was posting content, I was still getting some leads, but nothing was concrete for me at the start. But then with what I've implemented and what you've taught me, so to speak, that's where it started over time to really start to build up. And then obviously, like you say, I think I built quite a lot of brand equity. And then I went to a stage where I was just constantly selling through my business, through my social media, and then sales dropped a bit.
You don't need the thing is, you don't actually need to post any organic content to make sales.
No.
Do you? You don't?
No.
Content system, like, I think the two big things for you, first of all, one, you now know how to pitch your offer to a cold audience in a way that makes sense to them and also makes you look like the obvious next choice, right? So what people think is content is the thing that I need to know and become better at to make more sales. Actually, it's being able to articulate a good offer through content, right? When you know how to do that, you also know how to sell.
Yeah.
Because the crux of it is, what is it that your ideal client actually really wants? Okay? What level of awareness are they at? You meet them there and then bring them with you. Where most people go wrong is they will speak like way over the level of awareness at their ideal client profile. And not only that, they'll also just try and sell in the content. It doesn't work. You don't need to do that. Okay? And another thing is for you was having a overview and an understanding of what happens from stranger to lead and lead to client. Like you just said before, you didn't know about sales calls, didn't know about funnels, didn't know about like pitching a cold audience through your content. Nothing like that. But now you understand the full sequence. You can pull it all together and it all makes sense. That's the big thing we do for clients. We over deliver in the fact that we don't just give you like advice on content. You're going to understand how to take someone from a stranger to a client. It's a massive thing. It's a life-changing thing for your business. Hence why you've done so well and loads of other clients do so well. But the thing I love about you is you just get it done. Always can tell a winner by their willingness just to get it done. You're not asking a million questions. When you first started, you were asking lots of questions, right? And then eventually you start to dwindle off. And now you need like 10 minutes of our time now and again just to get your feel about things, don't you? For example, we've gone to the gym this week, spent an hour together, but not all of that was about business. Most of it was just about bloody biceps and pre-workout and testosterone. But now, like I say, you're at a position where you need little bits of information to really have maximum impact. So this week, how's it gone for you? How many sales calls did you take?
Yeah, so I've taken 5 sales calls. I closed someone in the DMs without doing anything. I just posted a lead magnet.
I've never closed anyone in DMs.
The guy that came on the program has been watching me for 6 months. We had a conversation about 6 months ago. Just back and forth, nothing too strenuous, and then posted a lead magnet, opted in, sent him a DM. Hey mate, I'm looking for mentorship. I've been watching you for a while. Okay, you want to pay now?
Yeah.
And then he was like, yeah.
That's because your content is underselling. And now you just collect cash at the point of conversion, which for you is the DMs. For most people, like even us, it's a sales call. So what do you think the biggest thing you've learned is then? While you've been with us?
Obviously there's been a book full of stuff that I've learned, I guess.
Let me rephrase the question then. What is the one piece of knowledge you wouldn't let me take back away from you?
How to sell.
I totally agree. If you'd said anything else, I'd have been disappointed.
Yeah.
Knowing how to sell is the crux of it. If you don't know how to sell, you can have the best content strategy, the best funnel, right? The best triages, best ad strategy, best ad media buyer. But if you don't know how to kick someone over the line, all useless.
100%.
All useless. What would you say to someone who's got a business, they're grafting all the time, they know they should be making more money for where they're at, they know they've got loads of value to give to people, they don't know how to do content or sales or anything? What would you say to them about like our content system?
Yeah, well, like I've said before, it has changed my whole perspective on one, content, and obviously how, like we mentioned, how to get people over the line. Because when I first came to you, I had been burned, but I hadn't been burned because I didn't do the work initially. I paid for a mentorship, didn't do the work, didn't get the result that I wanted. Then I came to you with a problem that I thought that I had, which was content. You said, yeah, it's content. Got me on board. And then I realized it's not content. There's a little bit of content, and it was more, well, then you give me what I needed. And that was how to actually run this business. It's not just social media that you will help clients with. It is everything in between and beyond, you know?
Yeah,
so like,
because what happens is, right, people and our prospects prescribe their problem to content. So the way I visualize it is, I'm a visual guy. I always think about visuals. I imagine like the word content vertical, but it's got a handle on it, like a door. And when prospects find us, yeah, imagine like a big white room and you've got this content door there. They see the content door, they walk over to it, they open it, and then this whole room of different systems and processes and strategies opens up. That's what we do. We have a TARDIS, our business is a TARDIS, and outside the TARDIS says, not post office or post box or whatever it says, or phone box.
yeah,
It says content box.
yeah,
Then you come in and all of a sudden you realise, wait, whoa, offer, messaging, positioning, sales process, fun. But that is how it has to be. Like, think about it. How does it make sense that you want to have a multi-5-figure business per month, right? Some people have made 60 grand in a month working with us. £60,000 in a single month. We do over $100,000 a month by just having good content. Of course it doesn't. There has to be more to it than that, and there is. But the sneaking suspicion that everybody has is that content is their issue. So what do we sell? Content. Social media, because that's how they would describe their problem. If you can Alex Hormozy says this, if you can articulate someone's problem to them better than they know it themselves or can articulate it to themselves, they will automatically credit you with the solution. All we do is articulate people's problems to them better than they can themselves, and they see us as the obvious next choice. So you've learned how to do that now. So you have an invaluable skill you can take with you forever.
Yeah.
You have a machine in your business. This is what we built. This is what we build for people. You have a machine in your business where you slot a pound in the front, a load of crap goes on in the middle, and £6 or £7 comes out the other end. That's just ads, right? You're turning a pound into more pounds, dollars into more dollars. Okay. Now you have that system. All you've got to do is improve certain parts of it to get exponential outputs. So that is the benefit of not just going to a content coach, but going to people like us who have a content system. It's a completely different thing. Anyway.
And I guess for context there, I spent a lot of money on a videographer, scripting all my stuff, doing everything for me, which didn't make me any money.
You can't have a videographer script for you.
No.
You have to have a copywriter script for you. That's where my skill actually lies. I love copywriting. I love to position an argument to someone in a really clever way through copy and scripting. So you'll notice when I do ads or when I do content, people use a teleprompter to do their content. Why? Because they think that they should be able to read it all out in one go, and they end up having this intense look in their eyes, and it's all a little bit mad. And it's not that people know you're scripted. I know someone's scripted something because I can tell by the way they say it. For example, ChatGPT likes to say, it's not about this, it's about that, or that's not confusion, that's clarity wearing a hat. All these bullshit things ChatGPT comes out with, I can tell they're scripted. Now, the populace probably can't, but what they can tell is something's off. They can tell something's off, and therefore, because of a lack of authenticity, they just swipe off. Oh, it's not going right, I'm using the scripts that I'm getting. But it's about authenticity. So what we do is we'll have a outline for a script that we want to do, with the copywriting perfectly positioned for positioning an argument to someone to make it make sense for them, but we'll go off script. So we will look at the script and then we will deliver a line that's slightly different, but it's come from our mouth and our brain, so it will sound better. Right? So copywriting is an extremely useful tool. Being able to convince someone of something, right? For example, like high ticket sales, where in the space of 60 minutes you're going to hand over, £10,000 to us. That's a skill. And all you've got to do is understand how to take that skill and put it into content, and then put a system in the middle so that leads come through and turn into clients. And that's it. So no wonder your videographer didn't work.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about like presenting to camera now as well?
Yeah, I feel a lot better now than what I did. I think if you remember 6 or 7 months ago, whatever it was, when I came to Manchester to film my VSL, I was really the first time I'd ever done it.
Did I write that VSL?
No, Hal wrote a bit of it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, but yeah, I think the big thing that I've learned as well is that whatever you're kind of doing, it's just volume and testing what you're doing, and then reacting to the data that you have to make sure that you can make an informed decision.
Yeah.
Because I used to think that, well, obviously for a period of time, I thought that the boosted post funnel was the only thing that I was going to use to get clients, and I needed to speak to a client for 3 weeks and then get them to a position where they were nurtured, they knew who I was, and then get them to convert. But then I realized I didn't know how to sell. But then when I learned how to sell, everything became so much easier.
And can you see how they all interlink? And it literally is just giving people what they want and then selling them what they need.
Yeah.
So another big thing I think you've benefited from is being able to read the data. You now look at your content system each month, not by the actual piece of content itself, but by the numbers that have gone into it. How much ad spend, how many leads, how many dials, how many sales, and you now know what buttons to press and push that are going to get you massive outputs on.
Yeah.
That's a massive thing you've learned. The big thing I've changed about ads recently is putting the CTA in the middle, instead of the end. Because why would you leave it to chance that people are going to get? Have you ever actually looked at the data and see how many people get to the end? No one. We spend a lot of money on ads, right? Nobody gets to the end of the ad. They don't. But in the middle, people stay usually. So if you can drop your CTA in the middle, for example, I always say something like, and you can click the link below if you want to see loads of testimonials, but before you do, let me lay it out for you. Then I'll give them the process through a first, next, and then framework. And by the end of it, they're like in a trance of what you're saying. And then you can do like a quick snap and change them into like a testimonial. So they've seen process, proof, and you've also given them the promise at the beginning. And then in the middle is the CTA. So you haven't lost them by the time they get to the end. They've heard enough of what they need to hear to move forward with you. And you've given them the opportunity to take an action. That's been the biggest thing. Ah, cool.